Welcome to the doghouse where the old man is talking. Yeah, I never thought an old man would ever do something like this, and there's several on here and women. It's great. Some of the older people, some of this stuff out here is not bad, that it's good. Yeah, these channels sometimes have a reputation of not being good. And I mean, like YouTube and all these others. And it's not a criticism to them. But people get on here and do the wrong things, not illegal things, but the wrong things. And this one here, it took me 3 tries to get it on. I ate a damn donut and got it all over my face and didn't realize it. Started filming, then I'm like, oops. But I hope you're all having a great day. This is just going to be about an old man shooting the breeze today, about several things that's going on out there in life. One is I don't get some of these people, and I get it quite a bit, is they're trying to insult me or and other older people by calling them old man. I know some old woman, but they ain't got a clue that it's a badge of honor. And they're not smart enough to realize that one day they're going to be old. But you don't have to go into a shelter and hibernation when you're older. Don't stop living because you're older. You have to vary what you're doing, obviously, and that will happen. You all of us get older, all of us get weaker, all of us start to lose our balance a little bit. And like the other day, example of this, and may not happen until younger, it wouldn't happen. I'm out shoveling some slush off my sidewalk. It was great. I mean, I didn't hurt nothing. Got her done. Put the shovel away, and I made a hard right turn and pitched a nerve in my back, and it still hurts now. After I got through, I couldn't do it while I was doing it. I waited until I got through before I done it. That tells you I'm a slick person out there. And in my life, some weird stuff has happened to me that most people could never happen. One time, and this was on the ranch, and I was still going to school. They had these sheep panels, which was about I there was either 8 or 10 foot long and about 3 or 4 feet high. I got out of the pickup, go around and shut a gate or open a gate actually, and the whole damn thing fell on me. I should not the whole thing, but there's probably about 7, 8 sheep panels that fell on me, which was fine. The 2 other guys got them off of me, and I was in the ditch. It was water in it. I'll be damned if they didn't drop them on me one time I got up. They dropped them right back on my back. And a couple of days later, I was going at it again. It didn't bother me a bit. But this is going to be about things that are happening, and it's happening to other channels too, more than mine. Is these people are getting on here and being ignorant and rude. And there's a difference between ignorant and rude and disagreeing with somebody. I have people disagree with me. I don't care. I talk to them, whatever. But ignorance has come into the fold tenfold on a lot of them. I'm not getting as much as some do, at least at this point. But some of these people go on. I did have a situation the other day with 2 different ones, and yesterday I kind of touched on it. Then I wound up uh, deleting them. Really, call it what you want, but removing them. But then another guy on here asked me if I had a problem with this guy and this guy, and I got thinking after that, after he got off his live, is maybe I ought to start writing it down, and other channels should do this too. Write it down. You don't have to publicize it if you want, because some people will use more than one name. But if you're writing it down and somebody else asks you, did this person show up uh, being negative on your channel? You can say yes or no, because this guy give a couple of names out, and one of them I kind of remember, and I think I've seen him on mine, but I couldn't say for sure. But people are very vindictive of others on here because they don't believe what they say. Instead of saying I disagree, they'll per near put you something in your back, to make up for everything, I guess. To me, it's just ignorance and people that hate themselves. Usually, it is people that do that really hate themselves. Now, I got a laughing at a guy on here yesterday. I should, and I probably will eventually, uh, delete him off my site. He get on there, and I put up a podcast yesterday. He probably not even a half hour he put up on there. Only 12 views. What a loser. And I'm laughing. I go to his channel. He had he had about, I'd say, about a month, I think it was, 63 views. And the rest were like 10, 15 views, 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm just laughing. I was getting the biggest kick out of that. Here's a guy saying I'm the loser, and because I don't got nobody on my channel, which I said, that podcast wasn't even a half hour before he out when he said that. So you ain't going to get a lot of views at that point. I've gotten a lot more than that now, but you know, he was willing to say I'm the loser, and when you looked on his site, uh, I'm not saying he's a loser, but his views were bad. And to me, that was funny, but eventually I know because he's got negative a couple of times, I'll eventually get rid of him. But I was just having such a heyday yesterday when he wrote that. And the funny thing of it is, I put on there, well, I thank you for your comment. You are proving my point I was trying to make by your comment. And he probably still didn't even catch on what he done. But it was about bullies and that, and he went right to it. And this is the second person. The other person that did this, and both of them called me old man, by the way, too, and I have to laugh at that. But this lady the other day said the exact same thing because it was something on a short I put out. I put out a hell of a lot of shorts, but I put out there about uh, uh, a bully hates himself or something like that. And she went on and said, I didn't know what I was talking about and all that. And I said, well, thank you for going on there and proving my point for me. Some of these guys are so naive, and it can be women too, like I said, naive about what is going on. They will actually blurt out and back up what you were saying, and they have no clue what they just did. It's some of the funniest stuff. It's annoying but funny. Getting criticized because somebody don't agree with me or somebody else, that's one thing. But when you're rude, foul, and just flat out ignorant, well, two different things there. And here's something that happened. Like I said, this is just ramblings from an old man. This used to happen to me. So if they want to go toe to toe with insults, I'll do it. We had about a 50-mile bus ride one way. Hi, how you doing? But but we used to, as kids, we don't do it as adults, but as kids, and it was always friends. I'm doing great, just out here having fun. Hey, yeah, us old men got to stick together. But on that 50-mile bus ride to junior high and high school, that sucked. But we'd have this deal going on that who could insult who the most. And it was never your enemy. It was just a group of people that liked each other to get around. And they all wanted to go up against me. They even admitted that I could throw out the best insults that they ever heard. Now we're kids, so adults are a little different. But it was so funny because they all wanted to go against me because they wanted to try to beat me at my insults or I threw out. I did have a great Christmas, great New Year, and I loved it. I don't think I've had a bad Christmas or New Year's in a long, long time. But so if these guys want to come out and I don't, unless they get really bad, then I have to throw an insult at them. I have to teach them how an insult's supposed to be. Like that guy yesterday, I was getting a laugh at. If you're going to insult somebody about something he has done, like he's insult me, calling me a loser, then you look on his channel, and I mean, come on, think before you write it down. I don't. Oh yeah, I insinuated he was sniffing glue. I didn't tell him he was sniffing glue, but I kind of went out there and insinuated that. Well, John, I hope you sure keeping an eye on my property there. I'm going to buy that 70 acres and start Gator Golf. I hope you're keeping an eye on it. Make sure it's clean. Well, harassing people to me, and I mean, you can have various opinions throughout the country, really. But to me, when you harass somebody and it's bad like that, it's they hate themselves. They really do hate themselves. They'll never admit that. A bully and a narcissist really deep down hate themselves. They are so hateful within inside, they have to try and bring everybody down to their level. And they will do that at any cost. They will use you to accomplish that. And when they get through using you, they'll throw you away. They don't care. They hate so bad, they even hate the people that's willing to help them. If something comes up, they'll throw them under the bus and go forward. And I mean, I see it on here, and you know, I've seen what's happened on here, but I've seen it in live too. Before the internet and all that, some of this stuff still happened, not as frequently or as heavy as it is, but it's out there. And now it's more noticeable. You didn't have these YouTube channels or these other channels on the other sites are going on, and that enhanced it more. It's snowing here now, and it sucks. I got a couple of 3 inches probably outside here. And it's funny talking about snow for a minute. I got a short I put out with the snow this morning, but Idaho, and the wind wasn't blowing this morning when I went to coffee, but boy, when I come back, it sure was. And as a kid out on the ranch, the guy that owned it buy me 22 shells. We had a jackrabbit problem like crazy back in the 70s. He didn't give it to me for a wage. He'd just give me the shells and say, go for it. I'd go out all day, wander in the snow. Now, back then, 6 inches, a foot of snow was nothing. And I'd wander in it all day, no problem. Now I hate this stuff. If it wasn't for commitments around here, I'd probably be out of here in the wintertime. I just cannot stand snow anymore. The good thing is, so it's in the low 30s. Usually it's in the 20s or teens here by now. Usually getting into the teens. Okay, Chase. But look at way you grew up, and when you get older, it does make a difference on things. Things you did back there, you didn't think, you knew you was bulletproof. At least in our minds, we were bulletproof. So what are you going to do? Get older. Damn, how did we stop that? I'm glad I'm older and I don't regret it 1 minute. I joke around about the Mork and Mindy thing. The older you get and younger you should look, but that's just a joke. I love my life. I love my age. If I get older, I got to get older. Nothing I can do about it. I'm not giving up life because of the age thing. So many of us is willing to give up our life to get older. Oh, well, I'm so miserable. I'm not miserable. There's things I still want to accomplish. There's things in life I should have done different. Hindsight's better than, you know. Heck, this was before I was married, and my little sister and brother-in-law had a bar. I mean, on the weekend I'd go out, sit in the bar, do whatever, and go home. But I got over that and moved on. Actually, I don't know if I said this on here anywhere else on a podcast or nothing. Here's how I met my wife. We buried my dad that afternoon. I met my wife that night. It's interesting as to how that happened. What the chances are you're going to meet your future wife the same day you bury your dad? And we've had a great time. I mean, even though she has Alzheimer's, we have a great time. We always have. Sometimes we work together and sometimes in different places, but it's interesting just life itself, and this is what a lot of them getting on here for. Sometimes you got to go through so much hell to get just a little ways, but in the end, it's worth it. John, what you're doing, and Lynette, you're 100% right, and pushing forward with that little girl, you are 100% in the right. Don't let anybody tell you any different. We all stumble here and there. Obviously, I have, but we go forward, and you're doing the right thing, John. And others are too. They've helped out, they give their support, and that's a good thing. You don't have to agree with 100% of the people 100% of the time. Life would be so boring if we did. Yeah, this somebody told me one time, well, I always say I'm an old man, and this lady, she's older than I, and I used to work with her. When I see her, I tell her I'm a dirty old man. And I say, I admit I'm a dirty old man. I'm in this. The last time it was in Walmart, and I go, I'm here to chase women. And she goes, you're married. Why do you want to chase women? I said I wanted to chase women. I didn't say I wanted to catch them. That's why I got to go after the younger ones because they run faster than me. The older ones, I ain't going to chase because they can't run very fast. I don't want to catch anybody. And she started laughing. And she goes, since we work together, your ideas never change. I said, you're right. And we just, I have fun with people. Things we do when we're younger and we still carry them on, I guess, even when we get older. One thing I did, and I really never realized this at the time. My wife's one of her nieces was over. She wasn't very old, maybe 4 or 5 at the time. And she walked up to me and said, "Did you go see Santa Claus at the mall?" I said, "I don't like that pussycat. I'm just joking." Oh, she got so mad and upset with me, and I was her favorite uncle. Well, after Christmas, she come up to me and she says, "Uncle Darwin, what did you get?" I said, "Nothing. He didn't come to my house." She put her hands on the side and said, "Well, if you wouldn't have called him Pusket, he'd probably give you a present." But she was still upset over that. When I said it, I wasn't thinking about it, but you know, she took her a while to get over the fact that I said that about Santa Claus. And when we get old, I still do that to kids, joke around, not that, but joke around with them and tell them this story or that story. One day I was telling a couple of them a story and how things were, and my wife goes, "Don't believe him. He's lying to you." One of them goes, "Uncle Darwin would never lie to us. He always tells the truth." Isn't it nice to be known as the truth teller? Yeah, and my wife tried to convince that that didn't happen. He lies. Oh no, he don't lie. Then one day, one of them needed it, and I'll go back a little bit. A week or so before, I was doing some laundry and folding the clothes on top of the dryer. Well, he come back to where the dryer and that was. He spent the night, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Folding clothes." I said, "This stuff is a woman's work. A guy should never have to do this." And a week or so later, he's at home and he goes, "Mom, I need a shirt." And she goes, "Well, there's two of us adults in this house. Go ask your dad." He looked at her and goes, "Well, that's woman's work. Guys don't have to do that." Afternoon, cat lady. Oh, and the funny thing it was, she didn't know where she knew where it come from without him saying it. First thing out of his mouth, "Damn you, Darwin." She wasn't even there. She know that I told her son that. But he was convinced I was right because I said it. But getting back to some other things here, like I said, from now on, and I think other people should do this with the negativity and the ignorance of some of the people on here, not the ones that disagree with you, but the negativity out there, and write the names down, write what their channel is down. And if somebody ever asks you, say, "Yeah, he's did this to me." It never hurts to keep track of them that are doing that. So those in in here ever want to know, you can say, "Yeah, this is one of them." And I started that yesterday with the one calling me a loser. He didn't respond when I asked him if he sniffed glue or not, but things like that happen. Things like that will happen. So why not verify it? I mean, you don't have to go out and publish it. If somebody wants to know it, tell them. As long as you're keeping an eye on who's saying what that's ignorant and negative, that's good. I don't care if a person gets on there and disagrees with me. I care less. I wouldn't even do that. There's people on here that do that. I probably in 4 days, I've had three or four of them that's Well, I'll say a week. 3 of them for sure within 3 days, and another one before that. And I'm assuming 3 guys and 1 lady, and all of them verified what I was saying by what they said. It was kinda funny. But that's the only way you're gonna stop that. Just get them off your channels and go forward. Because you're gonna have haters that will hate the rest of their lives. You can't change a hater. You can't change a person that hates himself within. A person that hates himself or herself within will destroy you at any cost because they don't believe you should be happy. You should hate like they hate. And there's no reason for that at all. But it's out there and they do it. Maybe some is growing up, something happened. After they're adults, maybe something happened. Maybe they're just that way naturally, and it could be any of them because all of them exist as to why they do that. It's not just one thing. You know, the other day I was on here and I decided different things a narcissist does. And there was a couple of things I kind of thought they did, but I went through and they were on there. One of these days, I'm going to do a couple of other things besides be boring. One thing I got to do, and I'm still thinking about whether it's worth it or not. This is my equipment. I do need to improve it to keep on here. Better mic. Better. I got a couple other mics, but this works better than them. I got to get better stuff if I keep going with podcasts and that. When I'm doing my shorts, it really don't matter. But I haven't decided for sure what I'm going to do there because I'm on here for fun. That's the main thing. And when you do a lot of shorts, I 100% guarantee you them hours ain't going to add up very fast. But that's what I like to enjoy doing, and so that's what I've been doing. You know, everybody has a different point what they want to do on here. And like I said, I'm not monetized, so I ain't making a damn dime off of here. But I'm getting on here saying what I want to say and how I want to say it. I guess when you get a little older, you decide that's right. I am also, when we get a little older, we definitely have this idea in our mind. We hate change. And being on here at my age and starting it when I did, I've had YouTube for a few years, but I really haven't put nothing on here at all until 8 or 9 months ago. And a lot of that is we hate change. Most of us can't stand change. When I go to Walmart, I want to be in number 7, the row of 7. If I have to park somewhere else, I always go to row 7 first. That's a sign of somebody that don't like change. And the older you get, the more you do that. And unfortunately, and this isn't a political view as far as party goes, we got to start in the Senate and the Congress to get some younger people in there, regardless of what your political views are. Some of these older people are just older, and you do things not as fast or as quick as you used to, or how it has to be done. And I'm not talking every one of them, but there's a lot of them in there that do that, and they won't give it up. I seen yesterday a clip on YouTube of one of the senators who was getting sworn in. 2 people had to help her down to get to the podium. Maybe that you've been there too long. And there's nothing wrong with older people at all. But sometimes on something like that, you really should step back. You shouldn't do a lot of that stuff out there then, and it doesn't matter what party you are. I mean, there's some really sharp older people, but as a whole, you slow down, you do. I can't even do even close to what I used to do. I'm only 65. I do more than some people my age, but still, we all at some point have to realize our limitations and stuff. But still, it goes back to these people going on here and calling me an old man. I do really, really use that as a badge of honor. These idiots out there saying this don't realize they're not going to stop themselves from getting older. They can go out and say this all they want. They're still going to get older. And I don't see in their mind, for some reason, they don't know how to comprehend they're going to get older. Now, granted, I come from a family of there's 12 siblings. Mom had 10, dad had 2 before that. Some of my really older, I say really older, but the older brothers, like my oldest full brother, always thought he was so old. Now, granted, in your 20, my mind went, I was probably 3 or 4. I thought he was the oldest guy. How Probably around 4, maybe 5. How could he could ever be my brother being that old? Y And me and my little sister and I discussed it a little bit. We knew he was our brother. I knew he was my brother, but I just couldn't comprehend this old guy and this young kid, how that could even be. But when you get older, you should catch on, that's catching on is what you need to do because we all think people are old, that they're older than us as a kid. But these guys carry it on to adults. They still think old is a bad thing. I never thought old was bad. I just kind of, in my mind, separated young from old, and I'm young, I'll go here at first. And why I say that first, example of this is most of my life I hung out with older people than me outside my my brothers and sisters. My one older sister used to babysit about 8, 9 miles away from where we was at the time, and they had an older brother that could have watched the younger ones, even the ones my age, but she had let my sister take me to the house if she's supposed to watch me in any way because my mom and dad would be doing something, but I wouldn't hang around with the one boy was a little older than me and one girl was a little younger than me. I'd go hang out with his older brothers. I didn't want nothing to do with them. I'd go with him and whatever. So maybe some of my perspectives from being around people than me, well, even my brothers and sisters. I'm number 9 out of you know, so I'm down the list a while, long ways. Even my brothers and sisters older. One sister younger, but I mean, outside that, everybody was older. But that's one thing I think we need to stress to other people. Old is not a fallacy. Old is good. Yes, we have to. Thank you, Brenda. And we all need to give truth and hope. We all need to think forward in our lives. I don't care how old you are or how young you are. Another thing on here, I think's a badge of honor. There's 3 or 4 people that call me their YouTube dad. I know it's a joke to them and whatever, but it's an honor that they say that. They're obviously younger than me. I got a couple of at least one's a nephew. The other one won't tell me who, but I got a couple that are I am their uncle that comes on here. One of them asked me if they could use a certain name because they didn't want anybody to know who they were, but they wanted to listen to me. So I said, "Yeah, go ahead. I ain't gonna tell nobody. Just do it." But there, as far as big family goes, like I come from, and this is not even exaggeration. There's hundreds, not thousands, but a couple hundred, these 5, 6 generations deep. The bad thing is I don't know a lot of them because it's never around me. Their kids were never around me. And that's a bad thing about coming from a big family. Sometimes it's like 2 or 3 families, but the siblings are like one. They really are. We got our own deals going on in our separate ways. I got a brother that only lives half a mile away. I see him once in a while. Usually we meet at Walmart. It, thanks, cat lady. But the more bigger family you got, you really do have other families within the family. But what I thought was a badge of honor, and there's a bunch of them out there. They name their kids their middle name after me, which is Lee. And there's a bunch of them out there. Some of them they spell it Lee. The guys, most of the my nieces that have used Lee for their kids' middle name, they spell it Lea. Mine is Lee. I know I'm boring y'all, but that's okay. A good Sunday just to hang. Or Sunday, yeah, right. This is a good Saturday just to hang out and have some fun. Old man talking, not old man walking, not an old dead man walking, an old man talking. And I really do wish more older people would be on here and quit being so. And I did it so that complacent in what they do, they won't step forward. And yeah, I'm having a hard time if I really want to get better equipment and go farther or not. But overall, I took a step forward to do this stuff and I've loved it. I've got to know some really good people, some younger than me and some older than me, because that's just how life works, guys. But when you get older, you do reflect on a few things because when you was younger in your ideas, like I said, I thought my oldest brother was really old and he wasn't. But when you get older, you do look back, and that's not preaching to younger people because things change. My Tonka trucks, and that was my big thing. I was all boy. There was nothing about me but all boy. I had to have Tonka trucks. Hi, Road King. Thanks. I'm having a great Saturday, except for the damn snowing. That I don't like, but can't do anything about it here. But that them trucks were everything to me as a kid, and they weren't plastic, even close. And now you look, reflect, and you tell some of these young, even my nieces and nephews, well, we used to have trucks that were made out of plastic, and they look at you like, you gotta be crazy. They're always plastic. And no, that's like, I'd like to go into a school and set about 5 or 6 rotary phones up on the desk and have every kid, with the others not watching, go up and see how you dialed that. I wonder how many of them could really do that now. I like the memes out there, antique phones, and there's a payphone out in the middle of nowhere. But it's interesting how we grow and move on and things get better. I agree, Road King. I foot of snow, going out shooting jackrabbits all day as a kid. That was so fun. Now I see snow and I want to run. And if circumcer- cir- circumstances was different, I'd probably either be in Nevada, Arizona, or somewhere that I didn't have to deal with the snow. I don't mind it snowing and then going away within the day. That'd be fine. I don't need really hot weather, but better than here. And I'd be doing that. I don't want to do the no man thing, even though I think it's a cool idea, because I want a stationary place. Don't have to be fancy. And if I had my choice, it'd be out of town and not by town. I might be 65, but I sure miss being out where there was no towns around me growing up. Couple of creeks we could go fishing in and go shoot jackrabbits, whatever. Them days are gone, obviously, but that's what we get when we get older. She's doing fine. She's in there watching some movie. The Stratford Wives or something's on, and she was watching it. She recorded it from last night. She's arguing with her little part terrier dog. It likes to go behind her back and lay in the chair. Then the coonhound will go up and try to play with him. So they're trying to fight behind her back. Yeah, she's doing good. She's like me today, being lazy and not doing a lot, watching TV and having fun, I guess. That's the thing. I don't watch a lot of TV as far as movies and that goes. The things I used to like to watch. Hi, Tina Savage. I actually have relatives in England. They're distant now. Obviously, I've never seen the ones living there, but I do have relatives there. But, the things we do now and we did as kids, I always think that was funny and what we would and would not do. The things we thought of how the world ran and they really didn't. That's growing up. When you get older, you should realize by now. Yeah, I'm related to some Goodsons in England, but you know, we have to improve, get better. When you're improving and getting better and realize you're not perfect and you always need improvement, it's not a dig on yourself. It's realizing what you got to do. You're older, you should know better. I know there's some people out here that seem to get older and as ignorant as they can be. And I can't say they don't know better, but they don't carry it out because of the hate. Some people just hate. There's nothing you do about the people that hate. Unfortunately, hate is hate, and hate loves hate. Some of you might hate loves hate. Yeah, because if you hate, you're going to love those that hate too. You will take advantage of them, but you haters will love haters until they have no use for them. Then they'll get rid of them. I've seen that even around where I grew up, where there's very few people. You'll always find a hater. I went to school in it, and you can look it up. It's called Arco, Idaho, and that was the first city in the world ever to be lit by atomic energy. So, just some facts here. And you know who, and I'm not saying this as anything to do with religion. I don't go to church. I believe in God. But look up the name Philo T. Farnsworth. He was the person that was the first to invent the picture tube. He was about 12, 14 miles away from here when he did that. Obviously, I wasn't alive. And and I say his religion was that many people criticize. And most people don't know that well, they know the religion, but don't know he was part of that religion. Yeah, I think the guy from RCA come up with it about the same time, but it was proven in court that Philo T. Farnsworth was actually the inventor of it. And this is something I've always thought, and this even proves it, that two people can have the same ideas about the same time. This guy from RCA could have very well have been beat Philo T. Farnsworth to the picture tube. Very well could have done. But Philo had actually turned over his paperwork to a science teacher, and the copies were always there. After all them years, the copies were there. And that place is called Rigby, Idaho, where he did them drawings and stuff. And this guy also has a whole bunch of other patents. Now, the guy from RCA is actually the one that took it a step farther with the picture tube. And that's why a lot of people think the guy from RCA is the one that invented it. But no, he had the same idea as the other guy. The other guy just beat him to it. And you think in life, just from all your years on this earth, how many times have you thought about something and you turn around and somebody did the exact same thing you were thinking about to do? So one person isn't the only one thinking of good things. One person can say that Philo T. Farnsworth did a bad job. Now look what TV caused. I don't believe that, but you can make that argument because bad has been made out of TV. And, and I guess you guys would never know with my background here is I like animals. That black dog, although that's a lab in there, mine is part coonhound, part lab, and Irish setter, but mostly it's coonhound. Kind of looks like that dog, that black one. And I don't have any cats around that look like the ones over there, but they're here. I'm the only one in my doghouse, so this is I used to tell my wife, and she goes, "I know where you're going." I'm saying, "I'm going to the secret hideout." She goes, "You're just going out to the doghouse." I come out here, relax, have fun. My age, I deserved it. The people older than me deserve what they're doing. We all need to stick together when you get older. And like I said, I'd love to see people push older people into doing stuff like this. The difference is some of your older people, and some of you know the one I'm thinking of, Ray, he doesn't need the money to do this. He just does it to do it. And I think a lot of older people do that, where the younger, they're more concentrated on the money. Not that people don't like money. Everybody likes money, but there's where your age difference come in. And on here, and I've noticed some of the younger people on here get upset and carried away when somebody don't like them or says something that's not exactly what they like. But when you get older, you say, "I don't give a damn. I'm going on. Who cares?" That's kind of a difference we do. I guess all of us have our quirks, too, even getting older. Like my giddy up and go sometimes not good. Me hurting my back the other day. I just pinched a nerve. I got a nerve that every few years I'll do that, pinch that nerve, and it's sore in hell. But I got a spinal stimulator in my back, but the damn batteries and the charger don't work no more. So now I got to go through loop, loopholes and jump through hoops to get a new one. Now, when they put it in, it's a $35,000 spinal stimulator. But boy, wish that battery would work. And I think the closest appointment I could get to this guy's like 3 to 4 weeks out. That ain't going to help. It'll be over with by then. Well, I'll let you guys. Well, a couple other things I wanted to mention here. People on here have been really, really nice to me. I mean, I get a lot of more views on my shorts, but that's okay. But there's some really, really nice people in here. There's some really God-fearing people in here. And that I don't mean that if you don't believe in God, I mean God-fearing in the way how they handle themselves and know how to go forward and love others. We're getting so we're forgetting how to love people. We're taking a back seat, and that's wrong. Learn that love you have for others. Let other people see that. Don't hide it from people. Go out and take a step forward and do the good things in life because you are a good person, a respectable person. And I've seen a whole lot on here. And when I started this, I didn't have a clue where I was going with this. But because I decided to get out of my rut, I have managed, and I don't know any of you. I wouldn't even know you if I seen you. Just talking to you shows how good of people you are, and I'm blessed to get to know people. I really am. I'm more appreciative of getting to know people and what they do, and I wish every one of you the best you could ever be. You're like me. Sometimes you run into problems and have to still push forward, and we do. And believe me, I go through a lot, but I go forward. Like I said, my wife has Alzheimer's. Not bad, but it's there. I got a niece who has almost like a brain tumor, It's called something else, but it's not the tumor, it's something else. And they don't know what they're going to do with her yet, whether to operate or see if they can control it otherwise. Uh, Whatever needs to be done there, I'm still going forward. My stepdaughter had a hysterectomy. They took cancer out, and this was a couple weeks ago. And they're still trying to decide whether she needs treatment or they think they got it all and she can go forward. Now she lives in a life care center that she don't walk hardly at all. So, that's hard on my wife, hard on me, but we still have to go forward. I wish that none of them existed, but they do, and we have to be positive and move forward. I'm going to let y'all go now. You've listened to me enough. God bless every one of you if you believe in God. If not, I still appreciate everything you do. Thank every one of you very much.